My friend won't accept that I don't want to be romantically involved with him, and now I don't know what to do after he made a complete fool of himself trying to convince me otherwise. Posted by you/throw a waffle away. I've had a very tough year with nearly every type of relationship in my life, romantic/intimate, familial, friendship, professional. You name it, it's blown up in my face. I've been to therapy, it wasn't great, but I'm trying my best to learn from it and not give in to avoidance and self-isolation. So that's the background. I, 24F, volunteer at an animal shelter several times a week, and there's a regular group that goes at the same time, all of whom are older than me. The closest one to my age is 28M. It seemed natural for us to see if we were a good match romantically, but ultimately, I'm not feeling anything toward him, and with everything else this year, I'm fine with focusing on myself and being single. We agreed to be friends back in July, and I thought that settled it. In mixed company outside of volunteering, obviously, we've had a few drinks and some deep talks, as in absolute trauma dumping, and usually, I'm opposed to this, but I thought being frank would help us be genuine friends and forget about the small amount of time we considered dating. Well, it turns out that over the past couple of months of having occasional conversations like this, it's only served to make his feelings stronger. More than once, he said, "We need to talk," and in those talks, he said things like how he appreciates our close friendship, etc., relating to trauma dumping and trust and whatever. Well, last week, during one of our little parties, I was joking about having a crush on someone at work. I wouldn't say it's a real crush, we've never spoken, and I'm certainly not trying to initiate anything, and 28M burst out that he's attracted to me and that I should stop talking about things like that. I went beet red and changed the subject. It really pisses me off that he thinks I should censor myself because of feelings he has, which I've done nothing to encourage. The next day, of course, I get a text that says, "We need to talk." I purposely skipped the shelter, but he insists on coming over to my parents' house because it's important. My parents were not home. So fine, he comes over, we chat a bit, and then I ask, "How bad is it?" He launches into some of his romantic history and how it's so rare to have feelings this strong and that I light up his day, blah blah blah. Excuse me for being callous, but I've heard this all before. He wants sex. That's what every single relationship and friendship I've had with men boils down to. 28M starts crying because I won't just force myself to be with him. I offer him a tissue, and he sniffs and asks for a band-aid instead because he fell earlier and scraped his knee. Oh my god, it probably sounds like I'm shaming him for being unmanly, but honestly, I don't care about gender. If anyone came to my house crying because they've known me for 3 months and started begging me to get over myself and F them, and then asked for a band-aid for the smallest scratch I've ever seen, I'd think they were pathetic. My reaction to this situation is universal, I assure you. I was nicer in person than I'm being here, but I don't believe for a minute that I can continue our friendship as it was. Knowing he's this desperate to get me in bed and literally willing to grovel for it, I can't find an ounce of respect for him anymore, and having been around desperate men before, I don't trust him or feel safe. He's latched onto one of my favorite hobbies, crochet, weird, right, and is trying to make plans incorporating that, but crochet is my favorite way to clear my mind alone. It's pretty obvious that despite everything I've said to him, he's betting on patience and ingratiating himself to me by asking me to teach him and make things together. He's playing the long game to get his willy wet. I don't want to have to stop volunteering here to get away from him, and what I learned in therapy encourages me to get past this to maintain the friendship. Am I insane for being this skeptical of his true intentions? Is there anything else I can do to reduce his attraction, or is my pre-therapy instinct right to GTFO ASAP? Relevant comments. Commenter. This guy isn't your friend. He would have put these feelings in check immediately if he were truly your friend. He would have asked for distance while his feelings cooled down, anything but coming to you, begging for a relationship. He's a 28-year-old man, not some hormone-driven teen. He heard you when you said that you just want to be friends, and he's decided that's not good enough for him. Ops response. That's the issue I have with the crying here. I'm all for men being vulnerable and stuff, but this felt extremely manipulative, though I can't imagine how that would make me want to rip my clothes off, Lamau. I wasn't nice in how I described my feelings toward it, but I've seen Reddit pounce on stuff like that. Sure enough, a couple of comments came through, and I'm pretty heated that one of my first attempts at friendship again ended up the exact same way, all about waiting for me to give in. Here's another potential attack point for the internet. I guess I'm pretty, whether or not I wear makeup, so I've pretty much always been treated like this. Every guy friend I thought I had has gone there eventually. Even years later, it's I always had a crush on you, or I think I'm making a friend, but I get ghosted if I bring up that I like someone else. It's pretty clear my only value is having certain anatomy and a face that doesn't make people gag, and I don't have any empathy left anymore for situations like this. He never specifically said he wanted to F me, just be with him, but I can't see any possibility that he means me as a human and not a sex doll after dozens and dozens of experiences. Commenter. Interesting, I thought therapy was usually helpful in setting boundaries. I feel like you should consider finding a new therapist if this one is encouraging you to maintain relationships with people who don't respect you or your boundaries. You did have a hand in his trauma bonding with you, another sign that your therapist is failing you. Find a new animal shelter to volunteer at. If there isn't another one in your area, you should consider finding a different place to volunteer if you enjoy contributing to your community in that way. But maintaining any kind of relationship with him at this point is just plain stupid. Ops response. Yeah, I learned pretty quickly after therapy that my exposures for social anxiety made everything worse. I'm avoidant as hell and have literally run away from situations I dislike, and this really expensive, famous program, I'm not kidding, people come from around the world, encouraged me to say yes to everything, and it made my mental health a lot worse. Update 4 days later. Unfortunately, there's more. Before I made my original post, I already had plans with a mixed group, including 28M. Before I dive in, I just want to thank everyone who shared their experiences with ill-informed therapy, social anxiety, boundaries, and struggles similar to mine. I wish I were in a place where I could trust my gut without outside input, but at least there are kind, encouraging people out there. Unfortunately, the other people canceled, not on purpose, things just fell apart on their end, and I ended up being alone with 28M. It was okay. Later in the day, some of the others did show up, and we were messing around with those TikTok tarot readings, just being silly. Well, when it was my turn, the video that came up, of course, was all about love and romance, and I was like, no way, this makes me want to gag. 28M immediately burst into tears in front of everyone, saying, I wish you had said that the other night, that I make you want to gag. To be fair, there were some shots of booze involved before this, but still. I generally had a good day and wanted to keep the vibe, so I basically had to talk him down, also in front of everyone. Then, once everyone left, he pulled me aside, shocker, huh, and I had to reiterate again that the stupid TikTok thing is literally just TikTok. My reaction was not about him, and I had to defend my entire position in life again. Then he asked if he could prove himself by helping me study for university so he wouldn't make a scene anymore. I said I wasn't sure, but obviously, I'm not going to do that. It's hard enough to focus on school without a weepy baby having tantrums next to me, probably checking me out when I'm not looking. So, it's sad and it sucks because I have to change my whole routine now. I managed to find some other volunteer shifts that work with my schedule, but it's down to just 1 day a week. I told the coordinator why and asked if my new schedule could be kept private, if possible. They agreed to take me off the email list and just keep track of when I'm coming in. I feel bad complicating her job and ditching the other volunteers, but at least I still get to see the animals I've grown attached to. I alluded to this being a pattern in my life in my previous post and comments, but truly, this guy takes the cake. He really believes that every single thing I say revolves around him, like he takes up space in my head. Well, he does, but in a negative way. This week, things seriously escalated on his end, and I'm already tired of it. Surprise, 28M. I've actually lived an entire life without you, and I will continue to do so. Sorry you're so insecure that your life can be totally encompassed by someone else this easily. It's sad, but I doubt he will change. The tactic of cry, then guilt someone into giving me more of what I want is super easy to pull off. He sees every activity I do alone, joyfully, as an opportunity to commandeer that time and make it about him. I was nervous at first that he'd see this. I'm pretty sure he uses Reddit as well, but honestly, I don't care anymore. If he does, maybe seeing my side, because clearly, he cannot listen, might shock him into acting like a normal adult. Top 2 comments. Commenter. This guy is a pathetic creep. Hey, if you stumble across this poor lady's Reddit, please know that countless people, many of them women, think you're a super pathetic creep. You did not deserve to have this guy ruin something you enjoyed, either. I hope he gets abducted by aliens and returned to his creepy home planet. Commenter. Nothing is going to shock him into acting appropriately. He needs therapy, he needs to be brutally honest about his behavior with his therapist, and most importantly, he needs to be willing to do the work to change his behavior for good, which he won't do. All you can do is change your behavior to keep yourself away from creepy, manipulative dudes. Crying like that is manipulative, whether he means it to be or not. Stop hanging out with him one-on-one, and I would stop hanging out with the group if he's there. Can't you hang out with the other friends without him?